Today we're going to be taking a look in the book of Judges, if you will. Judges chapter number 7. Judges chapter number 7. Judges chapter 7. Moses led the children of Israel out of Egypt. And finally, they've come to a particular point, and the size of the Israelites have decreased because of sin that happened in the desert. And now here Moses is ready to cross over the river Jordan, and he has with him Joshua, who's Joshua and Caleb, the two outside of Moses that are the older of the whole group. So you have 3 old men, and the rest of them were younger than those 3, ready to cross the Jordan River. And of course, this is where they're going to have this land that was filled with milk and honey. Okay, and take the land; it's their possession. And so they were doing that. And in the readings of that crossing, and that you find that Joshua has now taken over the lead because Moses wasn't able to cross over. And now you have Joshua and Caleb, the elders of the whole group, the rulers, so to speak. Goes through that whole portion, and there's peace in the land now. And then after a while, then comes along other ones which we'll call judges. And once judges come along, there's peace in the land for a little bit. And then once they get comfortable after a while, and then they begin to sin, talking about Israel, begin to sin. And once they start doing that, then God sends another judge and brings them back around, back to their senses, so to speak. And y'all remember there was one lady by the name of Deborah. Y'all remember her? Yeah, she was used to bring the children of Israel back to their senses also. And so now it's come to a point where they're off the scene, and here in chapter number 6, verse number 1, I want you to take a look at this right here in chapter 6, verse number 1. It says, "And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord." Y'all catch that? Mm-hmm. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. Why? Because they've had rest, they've been chilling, and everything's been pretty good, comfortable. No real enemies, so to speak. Everything was okay. But then, and the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Midian 7 years. You see, it doesn't matter how long a person how long that God have delivered them over to something for some type of justice or punishment. It doesn't matter how long, but however the length of time is sufficient. It is enough. It's enough to get everyone's attention. Yeah. You see. Some people consider 7 years not as long as was 40 years or even 300 years or 400 years. But whatever the time that God delivers someone over to some form of punishment, that's long enough. Amen. That will get, amen, your attention. And then, of course, here, picking up, we see right here in verse number 11 of chapter number 6, 11 all the way down to 27, God calls this one other man by the name of Gideon to snap these people into their senses. It says, Gideon, I'm going to use you. He sends an angel. I'm going to use you. He says right there in verse number 11, "And there came an angel of the Lord and sat under an oak, which was in Ophrah." Almost like Oprah, ain't it? Almost. Yeah. That pertained unto Joash, the Abiezrite, and his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. So in order for them to get what they needed to survive, they even had to hide some things. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him and said unto him, the Lord is with you, thou mighty man of valor. Gideon probably looked around and said, what's going on? I just, me and my folk is over here trying to get some stuff, so we can have something. But God had already chosen him and had already called him out for the things in which Gideon has already done. Mm-hmm. Gideon considered those things that he did as normal, is survival. Yes. So the things in which we do in life, God sees. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes we think that what we're doing is all just for me. But God may have a bigger plan for each and every one of us for later on down the road that we cannot see. But it says right here, he continues and the angel tells Gideon what he's going to do, and they begin to have this dialogue, and then later on, here nearing the very end of this right here text, because Gideon the angel tells him Gideon told the angel, if this is real, if this is for real, I want you to stay right here and I'll come back and then if you're still here, I know this is real. Gideon goes and he goes and gets his meal together, like the offering and everything, and he comes back with the offering for this angel and everything, and the angel said, put this offering, put this meal on this stone right here, and he puts it there. The angel takes this staff and touches it, and then it catches fire, and then the angel along with that is consumed up out of the view of Gideon. And Gideon knew at that time truly it was God sent. Then later on, and because what happened is that the angel told him to tear down the grove and that thing that your father had, that altar, tear it down. I want you to use that, build an altar and do this sacrifice, do this. He did all of that. Then the people came looking for Gideon later on in chapter number 6 of Judges. It says right there look at verse number 28. And when the men of the city arose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was cast down, and the grove was cut down that was by it. And the second bullock was offered upon the altar that was built. And they said one to another, who hath done this thing? And when they inquired and asked, they said, Gideon, the son of Joash, had done this thing. Oh boy, somebody after you, you got to do something. But Gideon, he wasn't that scared. Then look at verse number 36. Now this is to the part which, we always been hearing about and read about, studied about, looked at. And Gideon said unto God, if thou wilt save Israel by my hand, as thou hast said, behold, I will put a fleece of wool in the floor. Y'all remember that, right? And if the dew be on the fleece only, and it be dry upon all the earth beside, then shall I know that thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said. Look at that. God, the only thing I need is just for you to prove yourself. One time, that's all it takes. Let's see what happened. Look at 38. And it was so. Good. Okay. Getting ready to go and do something now, right? For he rose up early in the morrow and thrust the fleece together and wringed the dew out of the fleece, a bowl full of water. Look at verse number 39. And Gideon said unto God, hold up. Let not thine anger be hot against me, and I will speak but this once. Let me prove, I pray thee, but this once with the fleece. Let it now be dry only upon the fleece, and upon all the ground let there be dew. Come on, Gideon. It seems like if God proved himself one time, that should be sufficient. But God is so patient with us. God is so nice. Here he is, did it a second time. He's then looking 40. And God did so that night. For it was dry upon the fleece only, and there was dew on all the ground. Gideon, come on now. Now Gideon should know by now that the Midianites, that Gideon will save Israel. Probably he's saying he should know that now. Chapter 7 goes into this part where Gideon begins to do and follow the instructions that that God would have him to do. There's one point I wanted to make out of this whole lesson right here, and as you can see, is that not only will God be able to use people, and as far as the number of people that God can use, it's innumerable. It doesn't matter if it's one, and it doesn't matter if it's 1,000. God can use whomever he wants to use, and what he wants to use them for, whatever he wants to use them for. But I wanted to let really that one point I wanted to just out of this whole thing that we're going to look at today is that we must be available. That's all. Available. What Gideon was doing, Gideon was about his business, threshing and getting stuff together for his people, for his family. And God saw what was in his heart. God saw what Gideon was doing. He saw the sincerity, the genuineness. And God said, that's the one. He's the one. And so now, here Gideon is, been set aside to be used by God. Now, certainly, if you're gonna try to deliver, even though he say in his deliver by his hand, Gideon understands. He knows he's gonna have the whole army on this side. He knows that. All the people in Israel were ready to stand up. Were you tired of being down? It doesn't matter as long as you got some folk behind you. You're ready to make some heads roll after that. It doesn't matter. You know how it is. If I'm going to go down, guess what? I'm going to take a whole bunch down with me. You see, when you got some head. Look at right here in Gideon, chapter number 7, our lesson today. Then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, in verse 32, they named him that because he's the one that tore down Baal, the groves and everything, gave him a name. Then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, and all the people that were with him rose up early and pitched beside the well of Harod, so that the host of Midianites were on the north side of them by the hill of Moreh in the valley. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands. Hold up. God says, there are too many people that you have, Gideon, in order for me to give the Midianites into your hand. Well, I thought it was all about, overpower and overcome the enemy. The more they are, the better. Better is to overcome the enemy. Mm-hmm. But yet God tells Gideon, it's too many people that you have there. He says that the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel, look at this, vaunt themselves against me, saying what? Ain't that just like us? Ain't that just like us? Look, I got enough money to do this, so guess what? I'm going to do it, and bam, I did it. I got the strength to do it, I did it, bam, I did it. I'm smart enough, I got the intellect to do it, and guess what? Bam, I figured it out, I did it. All about me. And and that was what was wrong with what was that? What's that angel's name that was up in heaven that got kicked out? What was his name? Lucifer. Yeah, Lucifer. He thought it was all about him. He wanted to make himself like God. He wanted to take over. He didn't want to play second fiddle or third fiddle or nothing like that. He wanted to be over everything. I tell you, just like men. So yes, God says, Gideon, it's too many people. Well, how many people that was with him? Look at verse 3. Now therefore, go to proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, what? Whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart early from Mount Gilead. Whoa. He got all these folk here. They showed up. They dressed to impress. Ain't they ready to fight? He said, no. Look. He showed up and said, his fish shine boots. Everything is tight on them and everything. everything is straight, and then they're ready to go to the battle. You ain't ready to go to no battle. You see, so what happened is that God already knew the first question. Anybody who, or basically the first statement, anybody who's scared, that's how you really get down to it. If you really want to know, they'll say, you scared? You know, anybody who is, he tell them, go on home. Ain't got time to meddle with you if you ain't for real. You know? Because the thing is that when it's time to get down, you don't need no, there you go, thank you, sister. You don't need no scared folks. I like that. You don't need that because they just be in the way. Yes, sir. God already knew. In this old group of folk. And then he goes on and says, and their return of the people, whoa, 22,000. And there remained 10,000. So it was a total of 32,000 people that Gideon had. And guess what? How many were scared? 22,000 people, y'all. That would have been a massacre. You so right about that. My God, my God. So he goes on and look at verse number 4. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people are yet too many. Went from 32,000 down to 10,000. And yet God says it's still too many. I don't know what the title of this message, y'all. It says, and the Lord said unto, it says scared. Then only the strong survive. By the end of this lesson, we'll come up with this subject. Y'all think about it, all right? And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people are yet too many. Bring them down unto the water, and I will try them for thee. I will try them for thee there. So he's going to prove them. He's going to prove them at the water. Isn't it something when you go to the water, you know, stuff can be proven at the water, y'all. That's right. You know, folks say they're saved all day, can't they? Take them to the water. You know, it's like, look, that's what it's about. You got to take them to the water. The water will prove somebody, y'all. Yeah. It will. In the water, what does the water do? A water cleanses you. Yes, it does. Doesn't it wash you? Yeah. What's that too? Drown you too. See there? We would say something like that. Okay, look. Look. He says this right here. The Lord said to Gideon, the people are yet too many. Bring them down into the water, and I will try them for thee there. And it shall be that of whom I say unto thee, this shall go with thee, the same shall go with thee. And whomsoever I say unto thee, this shall not go with thee, the same shall not go. Okay, so Gideon, because he was available, now he's teachable, he's all those other things. He's ready to do what God would tell him to do. He's listening, he's understanding, and he's going to be obedient unto what God says. Look at 5. So he brought down the people unto the water. And the Lord said unto Gideon, everyone that lappeth of the water with his tongue, as a dog lappeth, him shalt thou set by himself. So, look, all these 10,000 folk went down to the river. They thirsty now, y'all, right? They just got through humping around, 10 miles or something like that? They're thirsty. You know, they had a water canteen like we got and stuff. But it's made down there, they're thirsty, go and drink some water. Well, first of all, God said, those who get down and lap like a dog, set them aside. So as soon as he went down there, so here Gideon is monitoring. And he see this whole group of people probably together. They I don't know how they did it. They got down, they got down to the ground, probably put their head in the water. I don't know, but they started lapping water. I don't know how they did it. Lapping like a dog, you know. That's how a dog do it. Started laughing, right? And just kept on. And then so he goes and he said, set them aside. So once they got through laughing, y'all, he set them aside. And then he says, likewise, everyone that boweth down upon his knees to drink, those are the proper ones, ain't they? Look, those who bow on their knees to drink, it says, and the number of them that lapped, putting their hand to their mouth. Hold up. And the number of them that lapped, putting their hands to their mouth, were 300 men. Okay, that's how they did it. Y'all see it now? Y'all see it scoop, right? And lap the water. Okay then. It says, how many was that? 300. 300, right? Okay then, it was 300 of them. He says, look, he says, but all the rest of the people bowed down upon their knees to drink water. They ain't ready for no war. Bowing down their knees and, Yeah, they ain't ready for no fight. Look at 7. And the Lord said unto Gideon, by the 300 men that lapped will I save you. Whoa! From 32,000 all the way down to 300. He says, and deliver the Midianites into thine hand, and let all the other people go every man unto his place. You think they went? Yeah, they went. They're scared. You know, how many are scared again? It was scared. How many were scared? 30. It was 30. It was started with 32,000, right? 22,000. Okay, 22,000 was scared, afraid. And out of 22,000, then whatever is left minus the 300, right? Those ones, I say they're proper and all, you know. But they bowed down on their knees to drink water. Basically, they had precision movements. They just wanted to do it a certain way. Didn't that happen sometimes? Look, if it ain't done this way, y'all, it can't get done. God ain't got time for that. If the mission has to get done, whatever it takes, we'll accomplish the mission. Deacon will adapt and what? Overcome. That's right. You know, we'll whatever it takes, we'll get it done. That's what God wants to use, y'all. He says that, and then he says by the 300, he's going to deliver the Midianites into his hand. Look at verse 8. So the people took victuals, or another rendering was those pitchers and stuff, right? In their hand and their trumpets. And he sent all the rest of Israel, every man unto his tent, and retained those 300 men. Okay? And the host of Midian was beneath him in the valley. And it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, get up, arise, get thee down unto the host, for I had delivered it unto thy hand. God don't waste no time. If he's going to do it, he said, look, we're going to get it done. You know, look, he done sent all those people home and everything, and then I know they're at home talking and stuff, but they're happy though. You know, and 300 of them out there ready to battle the Midianites. You see, they knew why they were together. They knew why they were coming out. They knew that they were coming out to battle. They knew they were coming out to deliver Israel out of the hands of the Midianites. They knew that. But yet all those people were scared. What was up? They were used to being oppressed. You know, after a while, you have that mentality. Once you've been treated in a certain way for so long, that's all you know and that's all you want. You don't want nothing different, you know? Y'all remember when Israel came out of Egypt? They were out for a little while. They got in the desert. They got hungry. And then they began to start thinking about all the stuff they had back there when they were in Egypt. The onions, different stuff like that. And then, they just started complaining and stuff and talking about what they used to have. And here they are on a journey to something new, what God had for them. Yeah. And that's what it is in our lives sometimes, you know. A lot of times we don't want to change. Because the thing is that, look, if I'm comfortable where I am, why do I need to move? Why do I need to leave this place? I'm talking about if I'm spiritually comfortable, y'all. Why do I have to leave this spot? I remember a sermon that Bishop G. Patterson preached. Said, you can't park here. That's right. You park too long somewhere, you're going to get a ticket, ain't you? You got to move. You got to move. So the thing is that we can't stay here. There's got to be some type of movement, you see. Because if you stay in one place, our medical profession, if we stay in one place, if we lay in one place, if we sit in one place, what happens? It gets stiff, huh? Something happens to that part that ain't moving, right? If you sit down all the time, something happens. Lay down sometimes, something happens. So you got to move. And so yes, thing is that the people, it was time for the people to get out of bondage, to be out of the reigns of the Midianites, and God was going to deliver them, amen, by Gideon. And God knows when it's time to move. Mm-hmm. He knows when it's time. I doubt if they were counting how many years that they've been under the rule of the Midianites. I think they were just surviving. Day in and day out. Sometimes that's what we do. Just survive. Day in and day out. Instead of seeing what God sees. Yeah, that's hard sometimes. I know it's hard sometimes. It's cloudy sometimes. And it seems like it's just muddied and everything. You just really can't see like far. You just can't see what God has for you and things like that. So what? Whenever that happens, we just simply got to take a day by day. But still keep it in the Lord's hands. Amen. Because we can't lose with the stuff He uses. That's right. So he goes on and the verse 9, and it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, Arise, get thee down into the host, for I have delivered it into thine hand. But if thou fear to go down, wait a minute, who are he talking to? Gideon. Okay, this guy talking. All right. If thou fear to go down, I looked it up too to make sure that fear was fear, and that's right. It's what it was. That's what God. If you fear, if you're afraid to go down, go with Phurah, thy servant, down to the host, and thou shalt hear what they say, and afterward shall thine hands be strengthened. So he's supposed to go down there and listen to what they say. So God is sending him on a, what's that thing that they go down and they're undercover and stuff, going down to, what was that, scout that spying out, they just going down there to take a listen and everything, to see what's going on. What's the word? What's that? Go investigate. I got that word. CSI up in here and stuff. Going to investigate this thing right here. See what's going on. But your ears out there hearing and listening and everything. And so he says, and thou shalt hear what they say, and afterwards shall thine hands be strengthened to go down unto the host. So whatever he's going to hear is supposed to be enough to be able to strengthen him, or to give him enough courage, whatever he needs to go down there. Then went he down with Phurah. So it was something in Gideon, wasn't it? He went down with Phurah. A little bit of fear. Okay. His servant unto the outside of the armed men that were in the host. And the Midianites and the Amalekites, they joined in, right? And all the children of the east lay along in the valley. Like what? Grasshoppers. For multitude. And how many you got with him? 300. My God. And their camels were, what's that? Were without number. As the sand by the seaside for multitude. Who gonna get to Doubting then? You see all of that, and God just sent away. Yeah, God just sending with us 300 people, and you looking and seeing all of that. Certainly, these 300 didn't see this yet, but if they did, I'm quite sure they probably would have told Gideon, let's go get it. Let's go get something, That's right. He says this right here. He goes on. He says, and 13, and when Gideon was come, behold, there was a man that told a dream unto his fellow, and said, behold, I dreamed a dream. And lo, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the host of the Midian. right into their camp, and came unto a tent, and smote it, that it fell, and overturned it, that the tent lay along. Look at 14, y'all. And his fellow answered and said, this is nothing else save the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, a man of Israel. For into his hand hath God delivered Midian and all the hosts. Y'all, this is a Midianite talking. This is somebody within the camp that's armed, that is in this camp of multitudes, innumerable. And they're saying this. He dreamed a dream. And he's telling his tent mate, he's telling his fellow soldier, this is nobody but Gideon. Nobody but him. Look at 15. He says, and it was so when Gideon heard the telling of the dream and the interpretation thereof. Not only was it told, but it was also interpreted, y'all. Isn't this something when God gives us, look, it's one thing about, you know how it is, old man dream dreams. Young men see visions, you know, and then you got prophesying and everything, and then you got the speaking in tongues and everything else. Isn't this something how we love to tell the dream? Love how to speak in tongues. Love how to do all those things, right? But what God says, even over there in the New Testament, Paul says, look, if you want something and you want it for the body, for the building up of the body, because that's what we are, we're all one body. Many members, one body. Then here's what Paul says. Paul says, pray for the interpretation. Yeah. If you want to give, pray for that. For the interpretation. Because there'll be 1,000 folk that want to dream, there'll be 1,000 folk that want to speak in tongues. But what does it mean? That's what matters. What does it mean? What are you saying? The English language is hard enough to interpret. So, not only did he get the dream, but he also got the interpretation. And he worshiped, y'all, and returned into the host of Israel and said, arise! Look. He went down to the camp. Him and Pharaoh went down to the camp to hear and see what's going on. To hear what's going on there. To hear what's the latest talk. He didn't know exactly what he was going to hear, but he was told just to go down. He went down and then he was around a tent where two people would talk. One said he had a dream. And that dream was his barley loaf. It was rolling down the hill into this camp. And it hit the tent and everything that laid out. The other one said the interpretation. He says, that's nobody but Gideon, the son of... Now, nobody but Gideon. So they all understood it and received it, saying Gideon is going to take this camp and eradicate all of us. Gideon heard that, and Pharaoh, Bible said he turned back, y'all, on his way back. What was he doing when he was on his way back, y'all? What was he doing while he was on his way back? Worshiping. Amen. Hallelujah. That's what we do. Amen. When God, amen, has delivered you, when God has answered your prayer, when God has told you something, we need to start worshiping right then. I don't need no crowd, amen, to worship God. Hallelujah. Excited because God has answered prayer. Hallelujah. This one, amen, he said that God, I knew you would do it. Because you said it. Even though you did do two miracles before I really believed it, you know. He goes on and says that he worshiped and returned to the host of Israel and said, arise! He made it back the same night, y'all. He said, arise, excited. Those 300 was probably on guard anyway because they were ready. They were ready for battle. Those ones that lap like a dog. And and he says, and for the Lord hath delivered into your hand the host of Midian. And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies. Whoa. And he put a trumpet in every man's hand with empty pitchers and lamps within the pitchers. So within the pitcher he put torches, right? And then they had the trumpet. And he said unto them, look on me and do likewise. And behold, when I come to the outside of the camp, it shall be that as I do, so shall ye do. When I blow the trumpet, I and all that are with me, then blow ye the trumpets also on every side of all camps, and say, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. So Gideon and 100 men that were with him came unto the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch. And they had but newly, set the watch, and they blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers, and that were in their hands. So I want us to take a listen to this. Look, Gideon told them what was to happen. Here he is, the captain of their army, 300 men that lapped like a dog, okay? And so now they understood, and they're men of war. And he says, look, do like I do. Mm-hmm. Do likewise. They understood it. Here's what it is. What Gideon had to do was to relay the message. And those who were to receive the message had to understand the message. Yes. They had to understand it. They had to get it in them, because listen, what? Anybody who didn't get it will louse up the whole thing. Uh-huh. Have y'all ever experienced anything like that? You know, when you have a group of people and you're told to do one thing, and then by the time you get ready to do it, then guess how many people don't mess it up? Why? Because they didn't listen, right? They didn't get it. I always revert back to my military days, especially in boot camp, because the only thing we did was march all day. March. You know, march. My God. March. Hey, that was a day marching, maybe not 10 or 12. Marching. What's good is that going to do? Marching. It wasn't about the marching thing. It was about being instantly obedient to orders. Amen. That's what it was about. We didn't get into it way later. It's supposed to save your life. You get an order, just do it. No questions. Just do it. So you march. So you have around 80 men out there marching. Certain way. In step. And all of a sudden give another command that says to the rear or whatever else that case may be. To the rear, this will be going forward, and then all of a sudden you turn around and going the other way. Well, guess what happened? He says, to the rear. Everybody go this way, and guess what? He said, to the rear. And round out of 80 people, 75, turn around, and guess what? 5 of them keep on going. And then they had competitions at the end, basically, because it was all about obedience, all about understanding orders and obeying them and being instant to it. Well, what Gideon wanted to make sure is that they understood. It's important to understand what God is saying to us. It's important for us to understand it, not only just understand it, but to receive it and to do something with it. Not to just say, oh, I know. But we got to act upon it. Remember we said earlier about being available? That's what it's about. Mm-hmm. Remember earlier we said that God called him because he was available? Because he was doing. That's what it's about. That's what this is all about. God wants to use all of us. But we need to be available. We need to heed his call and heed his word. Whatever he says, do. He says be instant about it. Because if I think about it, I ain't going to want to do it. How many didn't want to come to church today? Don't raise your hand. So he said, right? Instant. I'm going to do it. Just like that. Because if I think too long, just like they say when you play cards, right? You remember what's that card game? Spades or something like that? Oh, boy. Y'all got into there. You think wrong. I'm going to say think long, Think wrong. Yeah. So, what's the other one?
No, study wrong, you go wrong.
Oh, study wrong and you do what?
You go wrong.
And you go wrong. Okay. That's not for school, y'all, young kids. That's only for those, when you're dealing with other kind of books. Okay then. Look, he says, and the three companies blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers and held the lamps in their left hands, y'all. They held the lamps in their left hand and the trumpet in their right hands to blow withal. And they cried, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. And they stood every man in his place round about the camp. And all the host did what? Look. We're talking about folk that was like grasshoppers, remember? They got way more than 300. Gideon surrounded the camp. He only had 300. Surrounded the camp on three sides. Maybe one side was to the ocean or something. I don't know. Or the mountains. But 100 there, 100 right here, and 100 right there. They all had a trumpet. And they all had torches inside of a lamp. They all had that. And then all of a sudden they blew the trumpet. And then they hollered, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. And everybody stood, every man in this place round about the camp. And all the hosts ran and cried and fled. That word got out, didn't it? That dream. Somebody was telling it. You know how it is. If you want word to get out, if you want something to get out, y'all. Now, if you want, look, you ain't got to start with a rumor. If you want word to get out, you ain't got to deal with no email. You ain't got to deal with no instant message and all this other stuff. All you got to do is tell. Let me see what it says. I said no email. Oh, she said female. Oh, okay. No, so look. Thing is that look, the word got out through the whole camp, and it was a whole bunch of them. I don't know what it was, but the word got out saying Gideon is going to take this camp, and it goes through the mind of the people. If Gideon had 32,000 people and 22,000 was scared, how many of all the innumerable number of people out there were scared? God knew, but our eyes deceive us. God knows the heart. So whatever it is that we may think that we're going up against, God already sees right through it. We see the size or the shape or the issue or the name or whatever it is. But what God already has, He's already told you, then it's done. He's already done taken care of it. You have to be obedient to what He says do. Amen. Because look, all these people against 300, look, that's nobody but God. And things happen in our lives sometimes and we think it's so overwhelming. But I recall the scripture where it says, greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. Yeah. If we got God on our side, then we shouldn't have to fret of anything else. Regardless what comes our way. Because whatever happens, God already knew. And you know what? I just put it in His hands. Why? Because it's all in His hands. God's got it all in His hands. This. That's right. It's all in His hands. So what happens is that and the 300 blew the trumpets, and the Lord set every man's sword against his fellow. Look, y'all. The Lord set every man's sword, talking about the people, talking about the Midianites and the Amalekites, right? Sword against his fellow. And throughout all the hosts, and the hosts fled to Bethshita in the Zerath and to the border of Bel-May unto Tabor. And the men of Israel gathered themselves together out of Naphtali and out of Asher. I should have stopped earlier there. Out of Manasseh and pursued after the Midianites. What happens? What happened was that, this 23, I'm done with that. We're done. What happened is that the issue that Gideon fell into was simply being available. If we want to fall into the same type of issue, just be available. What do you mean available? Avail yourself to God. How do I do that? Well, first of all, there's a surrender portion of it. I surrender. Why? Why do I surrender? Why do I surrender to him? Because of all he's done for me. Why do I surrender? Because he rescued me out of my sins. He saved me. That's why I want to surrender to him. Surrender to him so he can use me. I said, Lord, now that I'm saved, I want to work for you. I want to do for you. Whatever. And you know how it is when we get saved, so excited and stuff. We say what? Well, Lord, whatever you want me to do, I do it. Right? You know, we say we big out there. Whatever it is, Lord, I'll do it. And we be out there too when we saying stuff like that. Now, we don't have a clue what we were saying. Because God can sure use you too. Because once you get word what he wants you to do, you say, huh? What? Me? You know, he's talking about somebody else, you know, not me. Because I can't do this. I can't. We start lining up. We start naming the things that we can't do or whatever. You know somebody else will do it better. But we said, use me. Whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Because I know it's not me, it's you, God. Amen. Gideon here says, just show me a few miracles here so I know that it's you. If I know it's you, hey, look, use me. The only thing what did Gideon do on his own? Other than surrender, that's all he did. Outside of that, he did what God told him to do. Did he have to figure out what needed to be done? No, God told him. Do we have to figure out what needs to be done? No. If we listen to God, we don't. It's already done. I'm done trying to figure it out. I'm done trying to do all what I think I'm supposed to need to, and all that other kind of stuff. You listen to God. What God says, that's what I do. Because what we think that we can do, don't get us nowhere. Nowhere at all. We tread water. We tread whatever they call it. We mark in time. But if we all decide to do what God wants us to do, I don't know what kind of church this would be. I don't know what kind of community. I don't even know what our homes would be like if we decide to do what God would have us to do. But once again, the choice is ours. But if we decide it's going to be the same as usual. If you're tired of the same as usual, then it's time for you to act. If you want things to change in your life, then it's time for you to act. It's time for you to give it all to the Lord. It's time for you to be obedient unto the Lord. Amen. It's time for you to listen to the Lord. Time, my brothers and sisters, is filled with swift transition. It's time for us to act. Talking is over. It's time for the rubber to meet the road. Upper Canaan, it's time for us to move. It's time for us to move spiritually in order for God to use us and to do what he will in the life of this church. What was the title of this message?
300 strong.
300 strong? Thank you, sir. Is that an amen? 300 strong it is. Thank you, sir. 300 strong. The door of the church is open.